Hello everybody. Today's video we're going to cover a BI-48SD dispenser in the door with bulk ice, cold water, the whole shebang. We're going to change this interface here, and I'm going to take this apart and show you how to take it apart and where everything is. There's a reservoir behind here, and this is the ice bucket, which you just have to pull like this and snake it out of there, and there is the ice maker. So let me get some light and some tools, a number 20 torque wrench, and we'll remove the ice maker. Okay, so to remove the ice maker, you have a screw here, number 20 torque, and you have two up there that you don't really have to take out, you just have to loosen them. So let me get some more light. Okay, so the first bolt right here. This one comes completely out. Okay. Put that somewhere where we're not going to lose it. Now for the top, let me see if I can get in here. Yeah, I got that. I'm just going to loosen these. Not take them out completely, because if you drop them, then you got to find it. Oh boy. I think I need another tool. I rigged up this tool here. Let's see, get that in there. I do have another tool. Okay, so we're going to go up through here and get that started. Okay. I do have another long nut driver that I use just for this purpose, but I seem to have misplaced it, so it might be in my tool bag. So what you want to do is lift it up, pull it away from those two screws, bring it down, and you've got a wiring harness that's not removable from the front. In order to get to it, it's right here. Let's see if I can pull it up. If not, then we're going to have to take the back panel off. There it is. It's right here. So I think probably should take this back panel off, even though I've done this before without. So let me figure this out. Okay, so I'm going to remove this back panel. I've taken these two screws out here already, and going to have to take this off, and then at least it'll give me a chance to show you the Arbor assembly there, in case you have to change that. Okay, so let's start removing some parts here. Okay, I'm going to let that drop. There, like that. Like this. Oh, there's a sensor wire that goes through there. You take that out, and pull this through, or to change the sensor. So, all right. Okay. Now we can take out. There's 4 screws that hold in this cover here. These are already loose. This little rubber piece goes in that hole right up there to protect the sensor. So down here, now you see this whole panel just lifts down like that. Okay. So this is your Arbor assembly. when you press the button on the door, as long as the door is closed, it says ice here. It turns the arbor, and the arbor turns this way. The arbor goes in the back, grabs it like that, and turns this. And so when it turns it, the ice that's in the bucket goes into these little channels here, and the way this is shaped, it looks like it turns clockwise. It just picks them up and it pushes them down the chute right here. So the ice cubes come out of here, and then they go into this, through this chute right here. See? And there are times when these chutes go bad because they get iced up, and there's a heater in here that keeps condensation from icing it up. This particular one has a weight on it. That's something new. I haven't seen that on any of the older models. And this chute heater is available. You can fix it. I haven't done one in a while. The next time I do one, I'll make a video of it so you can see how it's done. But to change the arbor, it's pretty simple. You've got, it's like 4 bolts, and here's your ice maker line. You see, if this wire had a little bit more slack in it, like that, I could have pulled that out from the top without taking the back panel out. But on this model, it didn't work out. And I didn't want to force anything. So that's that. So to change the arbor, you just take these screws out and then it just plugs in over here. Now this is the ice maker. You loosen up these 2 tabs. You pull that apart, and the ice maker comes out, just like that. There's no connection in the front. Now these ice makers here, these are the newest ones Sub-Zero uses. I think these are made in Japan. Yes, Japan Servo Company. And they're pretty good ice makers. Haven't had much problem with them. Okay, you can adapt and use cheaper models, but my recommendation is to use the factory, especially on these newer Sub-Zeros, because they have an extra sensor in there and the computer measures it. Now when you need bulk ice, like you want to fill up an ice bucket, just push this bulk ice in. Hear that little click? That opens up that turns the arbor, which has ice shoot down, and then you can fill up something larger than a glass. Or you can do it with the door closed and out of the well. Anyway, that pretty much concludes this arbor assembly. Also, by the way, is plugged in down there. Okay, it's not plugged in here. This other harness is for this heater right here. This is called a fill tube heater, and what this does is it prevents water in this fill tube from icing up and plugging up the ice maker. When this goes bad, this tube can ice up. And oftentimes when you have a problem with your water valve, if your water valve is not seating properly and it's dripping, it could ice up, and even with a properly working fill tube. So now that you have an idea of what that all looks like, there are other components, but before we move on, I'm going to put this back together because I don't like to work in messy situations. I'm going to put this all back together, and then we're going to go over here and we're going to take out these shelves, and we're going to take out this panel, and we're going to get access to the reservoir in here where the cold water is. And then when we're done with that, we will reinstall this smart valve. This is called the smart valve. It's got a control panel on it. And then also I will explain to you all these water lines that are coming up. This one, obviously, this is going into the ice maker. The other one goes in through the wall into cold water into the reservoir. This one right here is going into the refrigerator section. So that's this one, and then this one, and then you have 2 more here, which we will explain come up. One comes in from the water supply, gets to the filter, comes back down and supplies everything else. All right, so let's put the freezer back together, and we'll move over here. So the freezer is back together, and a couple more things I want to show you. Okay, to remove the ice bucket or the other buckets, you have to get underneath it and pull these two tabs forward. Pull it out till it stops, and then pull these two tabs forward and then lift up. So I'll show you what I mean. Right here, see these tabs? When you get your finger underneath it, you pull them forward, and that releases it from the track. And that's how you take out the ice bucket. You want to clean it. To put it back in, just sit it on top and then close it, and it locks into place. And that's it. Same thing with these drawers. All right, so I think we covered just about everything on the ice making system on this side. One more thing here is this ice bucket has these magnets up here that help hold this drawer in place, because it just sits on these tracks. As a matter of fact, you can see the markings on this bar here for the magnets. So we put this back in. So you have to get it in there. You sit it on top. Oh wait, I forgot to put the other slide in there. So now I put that back in. And so these handles, these little guides here, sit on top of that track like this. And that's it. Just those magnets are what hold it in. All right, so that concludes the freezer side. Let's do the fridge side. Okay, so we're going to remove these two shelves here. Now, remove the light diffuser, push back. If you have to, sometimes you have to stick something in there, push it back. But this is how it comes off. It's got these keyways and sit on top of these things here. Now, up here, you see we have another bolt. Okay. Now, I think there's another one underneath. There's two more under here. I need some more room. So now, you don't have to take this off. I just took it off to make it easier for you to see. To get this panel off, you have to slide it back. There's a spring there that keeps it pushed forward. You take this screw out and the two screws on the bottom, and you push like that, and it comes out. Here's your chute. These wires in here, because there's a chute heater in there. And when you have to change the chute heater, you have to take all this apart, drill out this, cut this out. It's a process. So here is your water reservoir, and your water reservoir line that's coming in from the back is coming down and filling the bottom first. Okay, and then it fills up all the way up, and then when you push the button on the door for water, it comes out through here, through this cable, or tube, into here, and let's see if I can see it up there. Here it is, right here. That's it, right there. That's where the water comes out of. So that's chilled water. Now, as I said before, bulk ice, just push that. If you get a problem where you're getting water down on the bottom. Sometimes these things leak. And if they leak, if this is not a perfect seal, you're going to get a drip in your well over here. You're going to get dripping water in here. It's going to keep dripping out because there's no seal there. And the reason what happens is this thing is held in by vacuum. Okay, so when the water comes in and the water's in here, as water drops, it pulls a vacuum. And so when you call for water, the water comes out, but then when it relaxes and comes back down, it creates a vacuum in there, and that's what keeps it from dripping. So if you get a drip in the well, it's most likely one of these fittings because you don't have an airtight container here. And there's a little rubber seal in here that goes on here that keeps that thing nice and tight. All right, so that's the reservoir. Let's put this back together. In case you didn't know, this is where your air filter is. You just pull this down, you change your air purificator, your air filter. This comes out like that for those of you who don't know that. If you're a tech, you should know that. Close that up, and that's how you change it. And once you change it, you press your pure air button for 15 seconds and it resets it. All right, I think we've covered that. So now, let's move on to the door. Put this back together and then we'll move on to the door. Okay, so now let's tackle this interface here. And just pull it down and disconnect it like that. See the little harness on there. It can only go on one way, and that's that way. If you try to put it on the other way, it doesn't go in. See? But you'll notice that there's markings on the top. Always when you take something apart that you've never taken apart before, either take a picture of it. Actually, this video could help save you the effort of taking a picture, but there's nothing wrong with this board. It's just scraped, and it looks terrible. So we have a new one here. That's the part number. It's called Display Control Panel. Comes with instructions. Right there. There's some little clips in there that should be in there. Now these are sealed. Once you open it, you own it. You take it out. You can see those two little canoe clips there. There you go. It's going to go in like this, and these clips are going to go in through here, and they're going to lock that thing into place. So let's get cracking at it. So here are the holes where the clips go. Let me get situated here. You're going to take your harness, okay. Now, you're going to take these clips out, and pull them down, and they loosen up, and then you can pull them out. So this piece here is from the old display. It's broken off. So to put this new one in, you get your new clips. You try to get this light up here. And you put the clips in like that. Push it all the way up and then push the center up. And that locks it. Same thing here. Push it all the way up and then lock it. And that's it. And that's how you change that. And it's very simple. Very simple. Looks much better now. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this is the next thing we're going to do here. This is called a smart valve. There's a little control board on here that measures the flow of water. You see it? Control board. This just comes off. You could use this water valve without this control board, but it won't measure the amount of water that's being sent into the machine, and so you won't know when to change your filter, and so on and so forth, and some other diagnostics. Now, very similar to the display on the door, there's a little harness here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pins. Let's see if I can get that close as possible to my camera so you can get a good look at it. Be very careful when you're putting this harness in. And you see it only goes in one way. See how the pins are up on the top? And the space on the bottom is for I guess a guide. If you can get your hands underneath the refrigerator, you can do this if you got good eyes, but if you're kind of worn down like I am a little bit, you need a closer look, you can pull the water valve out. So here's, and actually when we got this refrigerator, the water valve was hanging down. Here's all the screws for the back panel and everything. It has a broken foot on it, which we have to fix. So this is the bracket that holds the water valve on, just like that. Okay? And this gets screwed in to the top, which I'm going to show you because I'm going to flip this refrigerator down on the dolly so you can get a good look at it. And this is just like a protective cover to protect the valve. I guess during shipping, people tend to put hand trucks and things on their refrigerators, and this is more like a protective device. So let me get situated here and get this thing on a dolly on that Dutro, and then we'll flip it over and I'll show you also all the lines and how they're connected. Okay, so now let's get this valve installed. But before I install it, I want to point out a couple of things here. Here's a little harness that goes into your control right here. I'll get some better lighting when we hook that up, but I just want to explain. You got a water line here that goes in the front. That's coming from your water supply. I'm sorry, this is coming from your water supply right here. See, it's got a compression nut on it. This comes from your water line into your house. It goes up the back into the water filter. Okay, and then it comes out of the water filter and comes in right here. And then goes into, like this, it's a push-in. These two lines back here, this one and this one, go in like this. So you have the white harness, which goes here, and then you have the red, which goes on the right. So it goes in like this, just so you know. We'll hook that, we'll show you. And then just from looking at the way these things were bent in shape here, the green is going up to the dispenser, and this one's going to the ice maker. So let's put the bracket on. And by the way, I could be wrong, but that's the way it looks to me. And I looked into the manual and I couldn't find anything yet on the manual to explain that connection. So let's put this bracket back on. Nice and tight. Now I had the original holes for that bracket were right here, but you can see they're all kind of bent out of shape, and this bracket wasn't sitting properly, it wasn't tight. So I re-drilled them. Now we can assemble everything. And I think the first thing you want to do is, let's get this harness in place. Okay. Now, this goes on like this. Goes in here like this. You can get it in there some way. This does slide out from the front, so you don't, because I moved the bracket over, I'm having a little bit of a problem with it, but I'd rather have that bracket tight. Now this goes in. Now you see on the bottom of this connector, it's solid right there. That goes into that open space there, and the pins, you have to be really careful. Do it very lightly. You don't want to bend anything, okay? So now that's pushed in. That's good. You want to get your lines. This one goes here. This one goes here. Make sure you push them all the way in. Now there are some lock pins that you can get for here there's John Guess makes these little lock pins you put in there so these things won't pop out, and I've seen them pop out. This one goes here. See how far in it went? And then you have your connectors right here, your water valve connectors. Sub-Zero will put cable ties on these harnesses this way to keep them from popping out. But I just want to show you how that goes. So that's all connected. The only thing we have to do now is put our screws in for our water valve right here. Make sure the valves are not touching the bottom of the floor, because when they get energized it could cause a vibration. Alright, so that covers the water valve. There are a couple of other things we have to do to this refrigerator. One of them is these feet are broken, and I do have a video on my channel that shows you how to repair these, and so I don't think I have a set of these in stock, not the ones with the holes for the anti-tipping bar there. I just have regular ones. So I may have to take this off and weld this and fix that. Just get new feet. Alright, that's it for now. If you have any questions, let me know. If I missed anything, let me know. I think I covered everything. Oh, one more thing. It's always something, right? One more thing. And that is the water filter. Okay. Here's your water filter. This is the older style. It's a push-in. Push in. There it goes. This is a dual water filter. And the part number is 702-3811. 702-3811. When you want to replace these, you notice that spring in there. That spring helps push it out. It sits right here, and these two tubes here with the rubber seals on them go into those two holes. And so you have the water, and then you have this guide right here, so you can't put it in crooked. So you push that in there like that. Get a grip on it. That's it, and it's in. After you change your water filter, you hold this button in for 5 seconds, and that'll reset your icon on your display panel. If the icon's lit, that means you need a water filter. Down here, you have these information cards. If you see this illuminated up here on the screen, it means it's time to change your water filter. And for the air filter, this means your air filter is on. If this one blinks, it means it needs to be changed. So we'll go over this. We're going to have a separate video just on the electronics and diagnostics and how to change the control board and all the other things that are associated with this. Sub-Zero gives you these other charts and telling you how long food will last and how long you can store certain kinds of food. So it's most people don't even know these are there. We'll go over this more in another video. In the meantime, if you have any questions or if you want something specifically covered, let me know while I have this thing in my shop, because I'll guarantee you it's not going to be here for long. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.